Your name and year.
My name is Oren Morgan. I just graduated from UCLA with a neuroscience degree.
Military branch and reason served.
I was in the United States Army for 9 years. Come from a household of migrants. I also come from a household of veterans. So both my uncles, my dad, my brother, they all served in the military. So I had a desire to go in the military. I knew I wanted to be in the Army, and I knew I wanted to do something special.
How did the military prepare you for medical school?
So I had this opportunity to serve in special operations as a U.S. Army Ranger. While I was there, I was exposed to the weight that service members carry, from PTSD to TBI to just constant bodily injury. And while serving there, I served as an infantryman, but I had this opportunity to be an advanced trauma responder.
Tell us more about being a trauma responder.
Starting there, you're just treating battlefield injuries, focusing on things that you could do to save the individual right then package up, send them home, a single piece as you can. What started to become relevant to me was the fact that these injuries don't stay on the battlefield. It sounds cliche, but it's very true.
What health issues did you see in service members?
When everyone around you starts developing a substance use disorder, just to get through the pain, when they're going through divorces, when you realize that this isn't the same person that I met 6 months ago, a year ago, a couple years ago, realizing like change is due to these medical conditions and health issues that have gone unresolved.
Did you have a set path to work in healthcare as a civilian?
I had this desire. I knew I wanted to leave the battlefield, and I knew I wanted to work with that. I had no clue how I was going to do it, where I was going to go, how I was going to solve this. So I started off at community college. I kept it really quiet that I wanted to go into healthcare career. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to succeed there. So I had a big imposter syndrome. I started going through classes. I was performing very, very well with the assistance of other veterans and with the assistance of my family members and members of the California National Guard. Eventually, I had this opportunity to transfer. I applied to all these schools, including UCLA. I didn't imagine I would end up at UCLA.
As a transfer student, how long did it take you to complete your degree?
2 years at UCLA, and I did 4 years at community college. 6 years to get a 4-year degree.
Did you know you'd go to college?
Something I didn't consider. Thought that school was not meant for individuals like me. It was meant for people much better than myself. So I was surprised when I got an acceptance letter from UCLA. I remember I started tearing up a little bit. I told my family, it felt good. This desire to help my former friends, my former coworkers, make them whole again, it started making it more realistic.
Why the neuroscience major?
I transferred to UCLA as a neuroscience undergrad. I thought injuries are mostly sustained to the brain. Didn't know how, I didn't know where in the brain, but if I was going to learn, it was going to be as a neuroscience student here at UCLA. And so I started pursuing the neuroscience degree. I connected with the Veteran Resource Center. At this point, I was confident that I wanted to go to med school. I was confident that I knew I could go to med school. Didn't know where, didn't know how to do it, but I knew this is something I had to do for those I used to work with and for my family members as well. I needed to solve this problem, so I needed to go to med school to do it.
How did the UCLA Veteran Resource Center help you?
I connected with the VRC, the Veteran Resource Center here at UCLA. I asked them a bunch of pre-health questions. I was asking a doctor, but a doctor with a PhD and not an MD, these questions. So she connected me with a med student here at UCLA named Nam. He's currently a third-year med student. And then she also connected me with a couple of the other pre-health students. And I've emphasized to them that, hey, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm going to learn it. And there's no point in me not writing this down, and me not facilitating a trail through this heavy forested area of the pre-health community to allow students after me and students with me path to follow, this path that will lead them into medicine and to help facilitate this end goal desire of helping the veteran community.
How and why did you start the pre-health program at UCLA's Veteran Resource Center?
Coming up with great ideas and asking the Veteran Resource Center if I could do this, what about this, what about this? Also, unfortunately for me as a pre-med, I was pretty busy. They always said yes, let's make it happen. Just tell us how you want it, where you want it, when you want it, and who's going to be there, and we'll make it happen. We started facilitating events. We connected everyone. We realized that our community was, still small, but much bigger than we expected it to be. We realized that there was a lot of veterans here at UCLA, David Geffen School of Medicine, that were willing to be involved, facilitated that connection. And that's like what we're doing here today. We're networking so that they know a med student, and we're also answering questions. Hey, what do I need to do, right? And then what's good is there's a lot of former UCLA undergrads that are at David's Geffen School of Medicine currently right now, who had those same exact questions, like, what dorm, what research, what volunteering events are available in the area, who should I shadow? Shadow people here? Should I go home to do it? All these questions are able to be answered today.
How will students benefit from the pre-health program at UCLA's Veteran Resource Center?
Most of our students don't have someone in their family that's a physician. Most of our students don't have someone that has endless financial gains. And with the VRC and working with our community, we could close some of those gaps. We could give them the assistance that they need to continue, right? We don't want one of our students that wants to be a physician to help our community be the reason that they can't be physicians because they can't afford to take their MCAT. They can't afford to get a suit for an interview, and they have to stop pursuing this career just so they can make money. That's not a reason why anyone shouldn't be able to help people in the future, but unfortunately it is. And we're working closely with the Veteran Resource Center, or within the Veteran Resource Center, because we are a program of the Veteran Resource Center, to end problems like that we can do.
In hindsight, what advice would you give yourself?
A lot I know now today. Probably we could be here all day. I think the easiest thing that I recommend you doing is go to the Veteran Resource Center and talk to people there. Someone is pursuing the same degree. They might even be transferring from the same community college and coming from a very similar background, and they're going through it with you. Maybe they don't have the answers to your questions, but together, two people are a lot stronger than an individual by themselves at getting resources and getting answers to difficult questions. I would recommend that.
What's next for you?
I just took my MCAT, waiting on my MCAT score. I don't want to jinx myself, so we're not going to talk about how well I did or how bad I did on there. I have two routes. Either route ends in the same goal with me going to medical school. So I'm either going to retake my MCAT, hopefully not, but I'm ready to do it, and I'm more than willing to do it. It's what I need to do to become a physician. Or I'm going to focus on my research. I'm going to focus on the pre-health program to ensure continuity of it. And then I'm also going to take classes in Spanish. I really want to learn Spanish. I'm Hispanic. I'm half Mexican. My grandparents are from Guanajuato, Leon. They migrated here. They worked in the fields. They have their own health issues. I know how important it is to have a Spanish-speaking doctor to work within those communities. And I would really like to be able to be that physician as well. Not just a physician for veterans, but a physician for individuals within the Hispanic community. But unfortunately, because of the past, my family didn't want me to speak Spanish. They thought that we wouldn't be able to assimilate properly into this society without knowing that. It's a choice they made to protect us back then, but now I need to make a choice to make sure I can protect them today from all healthcare related issues. If I can speak Spanish, I could communicate with my patients much better. And if I could communicate with my patients much better, I could fix what's wrong with them.
Is there anyone back home you'd want to say hi to?
There's a lot of people. Everyone I served with in active duty, they're much better than I am. They deserve to be here. It's hard to talk about. A lot of them can't be here. A lot of them don't have this option to pursue an education, and they're very aware of these problems, and they all want to be a part of the solution, and they will be a part of the solution, but it's hard to stand by. So I like to thank them. I like to thank the members of the California National Guard I served with as well. Many of them are going with these same problems, and they're working every day. They're working on fires. My company just got back from a deployment overseas in the Middle East while I was sitting in a library with AC studying for my MCAT. I thought about them every day when I was in classes, right before I graduated. I think about them every day now. So I would like to thank them. And then my family, of course, my girlfriend of 3 years, Sarah Mogadama. I'd like to thank her, my family, for facilitating and dealing with me for the last 6 years of my undergraduate degree and the 9 years of my time in service. So I'd like to thank them all.